In this part, we will study from the study of the 10 Sefirot with Rabash. We will read from volume 5 of part 5 of TAS on page 377, opening me in the part that's studying. Now we thoroughly understand the Bechina of male and female. Now we thoroughly understand the matter of male and female. Now, we are going, afterwards they return to be Mati and Keter, and then in Mati or in Chochmah and Bina and Chesed, and then they were not Mati in Gvura or Mati in Tiferet, and not Mati in Netzach or Mati in Hod, and not Mati in Yesod, because they rose in Hod, and then he turned his face and gave light to Malchut below in her place. And then they Mati in Malchut. And after, now they awarded with Bechinot, the first Bechinot, where there is the reality of expansion, and there they came the lights of Malchut.
Over there is the light of female. Where? In Zon. Male and female are in the Yesod of Malchut. And so we learned Keter is one thing, Chochmah is a different thing, Bina, something different. 4 males, 4 females. We should say 4 kinds. The first 2 vessels, Keter and Chochmah, they are of one kind. Onwards. Bina, 3rd kind, or 2nd kind. Right. The male is regarded as more important than the female. Seranpin, the 3rd kind. What kind? Of a male who's greater than the female. He comes in Chochmah and he is in Bina. What is the 4th kind? Oh, although there is a 4th kind, the male and female in Yesod and Malchut, there the male is smaller than the female, since the male is in the phase of Vav without a Rosh inside the Hey, which is extended from the male of Bina, which is the phase of Vak.
And the 4th, he doesn't say. He comes from Gal. And yet they are not in one vessel. Rather, the male is in the upper vessel, which is Yesod, and the female is in the bottom vessel, which is Malchut. What is written here? He says, Yesod of Malchut. There is another male, female. And what is the male and what is the female? Now he divides the hay that descended from the vessel of Yesod. What is that hay? It comes from the progenitors. Who was the progenitor? Bina. There was 2 of clothing there, called female, called Gal. The male is Vak. This is the intimation. The Vav in the Hay is Vak of the male, which comes from the vessel of Chochmah. And the Daled indicates Gal, called poor and meager, but it's Gal that comes from the first expansion of Golgotha. That hay descended. So what is the female? Again, Gal. And the male, Vak. So he says here that the male is smaller than the female. Why? The male is Vak, and the female is Gal, Dalet, right? And where should the smaller screen be? And the female is bigger. So the Dalet is in Yisod, and the Vav, we said the opposite. Vav is Yisod, and Dalet is Malchut. Why? We'll see. Clear? No. These two phases of Zon inside the bottom 7 Sefirot are sometimes regarded as one and sometimes as two. What is written? These two phases of Zon inside the bottom 7 Sefirot are sometimes regarded as one and sometimes as two, because in Gadlut, in greatness, the female has all the above 5, and all the Vak are regarded then as the male of that hay, but in Katnut, in smallness. But in smallness, only the Yesod is regarded as male, and Malchut, at that time, she doesn't have the Dalet in the hay because of the truncated Vav. The Yesod takes it. And in that too, there are many changes. So this is not the place to elaborate. 339, we should discern. I'm beginning again on page 332, column 1, and you find that 4 males and 4 females are in this expansion, meaning 4 kinds. The first 2 couples, 2 pairs, are one kind. They are Zon of Keter and Zon of Chokhmah. In them, in that kind, the males are more important than the females. Why? Because the male of Keter is from phase 4 of clothing, but the female of Keter is only from phase 3. And the male of the vessel of Chokhmah is from phase 3. But the female of the vessel of Chokhmah is from phase 2. Thus, the males are greater than the females. Clear?
Yes.
Next, meaning from what are they greater? In what sense? In the coarseness. 4, 3, 2, 2, 3, 2. Next. But nevertheless, in both of them, in both the vessel of Keter and in the vessel of Chokhmah, the males and the females are in one vessel. What is the importance? What does he tell us by this? If we say that with respect to the coarseness, one is higher than the other, it's like an upper one and lower one. How can the upper one and lower one be in 1 degree, he asks. Answer, they are close to one another. And also, when there is closeness, then the 2 of them can already be in one vessel. What closeness is there? Because the males are from the records that remained after the departure of the first expansion, they have no light. But the females are from the new second expansion and are full of light. There is no explanation on that. What is he saying here? We learned that the last phase is lost in Pasuk Galgalta. For this reason, we have a record of clothing left, a record of coarseness, both without light. What is he saying? The record of the females are from the second expansion, but both remained in the first expansion. So how does he say that both have no light? If there is light, we learn both of them have light in Patzuf Ab. He drew light on the clothing, not on the coarseness. Why does he say? So I want to interpret that he means, as we learn in all the places, we always learned. He speaks concisely. Since when they clothe, they cannot draw light. But what? With respect to the coarseness. This is why the male of clothing needs the female for the coarseness of a lower degree. This is why they are both equal. It's true that the degree is greater than it, but it cannot draw anything because in its own phase there is no light. This is what we learned. So I want to interpret this here as well. Whereas they are the records that remain. So the first expansion, meaning when there was light, the light departed, the record remains. That record is without light, we cannot draw anything. Whereas females are the second expansion, and any second expansion is built on the coarseness that remained on a smaller degree. But the coarseness, from where is there clothing of light? Also from coarseness. This is why one needs the other. One needs the other. Both are equal. It's just, it's difficult. In other words, what it tells us here, that they have closeness to each other because the males are from the records that remained after the departure of the first expansion. Therefore, they are deficient of light. They have no light. But the females are from the second expansion, the new one, and are full of light. The question is, but both records remained in the first expansion. Why? He says the males from the second expansion remains from the first expansion, exactly like clothing. Why is there light in this and no light in that? About this, we should interpret, as we learned in all the places. What did we learn? We learned that since the record of clothing, it is impossible to draw any light, only on coarseness. Therefore, the record of clothing, although it is in a higher degree, nevertheless, we cannot draw the record. It remains without light, except what? The record of clothing joins the record of coarseness. It's got a screen. Through the record of coarseness, we can draw the phase of the state of clothing too. You therefore find that although the clothing is more important, it's as if it doesn't help and it cannot draw anything. He's a male, he's got no deficiency. This is why one needs the other, and the two of them are complete. There's closeness, and both can be in one vessel. We learn this in all the places, except here, the wording, we also need to interpret that the record that remained after the departure of the first expansion, and we cannot draw light there, the last phase is lost. The last phase is lost. What can we draw? On coarseness, which is called a female, or on clothing that remained from the lights, which you cannot draw any light there. But the females are from the expansion. On them, I draw light, and they have no light. Therefore, the male cannot do anything. Rather, he must be incorporated, receive light from his lower one. This is why the two of them are equal. What is the second kind? However, the male and the female but the male and the female of the vessel of Bina, the female is greater than the male. Why? But the male and the female of the vessel of Binah, the female is greater than the male. Why? What?
However, in the male and female of vessel of Binah, this is because both of them are the second of the two beds, and she's greater than the male. That is a completely different kind. Completely different kind. What kind is that? He interprets. Whereas this is because the male is smaller. Why? Because it is the vak of the bina. So why is he small? Not because of the coarseness, only from vak. And the female is the vak, is the gal of the bina. So what is the kind here? Not of greatness, but the coarseness is also measured from gal and vak. Gal and vak also need to be upper and lower. How can they be in one vessel, 1 degree? Answer. Nevertheless, they are both in one vessel, as the female is from the record and lacks light. Why? She's also only clothing. 2 of clothing that remained in the vessel of Binah. And the male comes from the coupling of zon of Chokhmah, which is 2 of coarseness. If it's 2 of coarseness, which is why it's filled with light, if so, we learn that both of them, one needs the other. The gal needs the vak. In terms of the gal, it cannot receive light. In terms of vak, it does have light. From where? From the 2 beds of the vessel of Chokhmah that was extended upon her.
Why does he call it vak?
We've learned there is a law that the coupling that was made in the upper one, the gal remains in the upper one, the vak is taken by the lower one. We also learned another reason that as delighted in mercy, he also wants chasadim. Chasadim is called vak. So he tells us what is called 2 of clothing, which comes from the potzuf of Galgalta, which was at the degree of Keter. Turns out there's a difference between Bina and the degree of Keter, between Bina and the degree of Chokhmah, yes or no? Or is it Bina of the degree of Bina? Here we learn what is the phase 2 that it has, 2 bits. And we say, the first reason is simple. It's a law that the coupling that was made in the upper one is called gal, and the outcome that comes to the lower one is called vak. That's simple. And the second reason, she's delighted in mercy, hence the question, why is she called female? Because vessel is called a lack, but there's no lack. So we say it is called female with respect to Chokhmah. And he says Chokhmah was Gal. Chokhmah remained in Chokhmah. However, she has no more than Chasadim. And that is what he considers female. Why? She doesn't need more. Why is it called a female? I'm asking a different question.
נעבור לחלק הבא של השיעור.